got patrol.
Howdy everybody and welcome to North St. Paul in the gymnasium tonight where the Raiders from Roseville are in town to take on your North Polars. Alongside John Miller, I'm Jeb Brand. Glad to have you with us.
Yeah, it should be a good matchup here between two good teams. Roseville's usually good. They haven't started off the season so well, but we'll see what they can do tonight.
As we take a look at the standings here in the Suburban East, you can see Roseville down not in common ground, normally up near the top of those standings.
Yeah, looking at the Suburban East standings, you know, Roseville's sitting at the bottom, but only them and three other teams have played a Suburban East game so far this year. So there's a lot of game left, but they are 2-4 overall, looking to get their season on the right track here in the early going.
As we look at the Metro East standings, the Polars here just sit behind, up at the top though, but behind the Hill Murray Pioneers that have played a total of 14 games thus far.
Yeah, Hill Murray a little deceiving. You know, they won a tournament earlier this year, so they played a few more games than North St. Paul, but North St. Paul sitting at a solid 2-0 in conference and undefeated on the season. You really couldn't ask for a better start if you're the coach, Stephanie Blanda, for the Polars. So let's see if they can keep this winning streak going and go undefeated here.
You talked about Blanda. It's her first season as the varsity head coach. Both teams have a lot of matchup as we get into tonight, dating all the way back to 2012, where they eventually met in the section final. And then from there on, you could take a look.
Yeah, during the 2012 bracket, you know, Roseville did beat North St. Paul, but looking at all these games, North won every regular season matchup dating back to 2012. You know, they've swept Roseville during the regular season, but Roseville has their number in the sections, which is all that matters, Jeb. And we could likely see the same thing happen tonight, but I think this is a little lesser of a Roseville team this year. And if these two do meet in the sections, North St. Paul will come away a winner.
It'll be interesting to see tonight as we take a look at some of the featured players for the Polars. Not a very old team, but they rely heavily on just two seniors. And number 1, Charisma Herr, and number 11, Alana Zarakruski.
Yeah, Charisma Herr, you know, the defensive specialist for North, is a senior, as well as Zakrewski. Both seniors on this team for a very young team. They definitely provide a lot of leadership, and that's why they're 8-0.
As we are set to get things kicked off tonight, the Polars will serve first. And we are underway as Sandite first sends it over. And it's tipped around, knocked down, and a nice job by her right out of the gates. Big slam up top, and Roseville's able to get some hands on it. As a hit by Stenman was blocked at the tape.
Yeah, nice job by Sophia Kopp, timing that ball just right in order to smack it down. Now their team's going to have the serve.
Kopp sends it over. The Polars play it up. And right away, a nice hit up front by the Polars. And this will end up going for a point. And so Selena Rodriguez, the junior, gets the Polars on the board with their first point.
Yeah, Valerie Kuth for Roseville just trying to do what she can. And unfortunately, she just hit it right into the net. And there was nothing Roseville could do with it after that.
Rodriguez with the powerful serve. It's set and then hit nicely. And that one took a little bit off of it, as Keenan for the Raiders dropped it right in front of her for a Roseville point.
Yeah, Roseville off to a 2-1 start here. See if they can get some more points.
Johnston hits the top of the tape, but the Polars are able to play it. And right like that, they're able to knock her right back down. That time Franco for the Polars able to get the point.
Yeah, we were talking about all these Polars during warm-ups. A lot of them have the skills to spike the ball down with some authority, and we saw it right there.
Now Herr sends it over, and as the Raiders look to set, and the spike on the outside, and it's a good one. That time Aaron Beer with the heavy right hand, as the Raiders now lead it 3-2.
Yeah, Aaron Beer listed at 5'10", but she looks a lot bigger on the court. Using that size, timing that right, and just spiking it home.
Valerie Kuth now sends it over. The Polars play it up. As the set in the back hit by Rodriguez, and that one sails deep and out of play as the Raiders now lead it 4-2 here early in match number 1.
Yeah, we're talking about the strength that Rodriguez had here in the pregame, and she just showed it right there. Unfortunately, it was a little too much.
Now a tip right up front as the pass by Rodriguez is a bit errant, and Beer slams her down for the Polars out to their biggest lead by 3. It's 5-2 as Valerie Kuth again sends it over. Rodriguez plays it up, the set far side. A nice spike down, and that one is marked. It's said good by the official. And it looks like it's going to go by the way of the Raiders.
If you're the North St. Paul coach, I would be pretty upset right now. It looks like the referees had no idea where that ball landed, and Roseville comes away with the points. You know, you'd think they would get a little hometown call here, but I don't know. That's very bewildering.
It looked like the line judge was confused, marked it in initially.
Yeah.
And it ends up being called an in point for the Polars, so they get the hometown call. It's now 5-3 as we get set again now. Stenman for the Polars back to serve. Stenman sends one over. Tough serve as the Raiders unable to handle that one. Johnston unable to handle it, and it's a Polar point.
Yeah, Jada Johnston just could not handle that serve, and it just bounced way into the stands.
Again, Stenman, this time it sails deep. It's marked as out. And we've got a couple of subs that come on in for the Polars and the Raiders. Back to serve for the Raiders now, number 5, Lydia Kuth. Kuth sends one over. Rodriguez plays it up. Far side now, it's slammed home, and it's a good Polar point on the far side, and that one was sent in by Zakruski, one of the seniors on this North Polar team.
Yeah, you know, just one of the 2 seniors, so, you know, they rely heavily on them.
And that one's good for an ace as the Raiders jump out of the way, and it drops in just inside as now the Polars tie it up at 6.
Yeah, Valerie Kuth, you know, thinking that one was out, but it was in by a good 3 feet, so she definitely misread that one.
Rebelke back to serve, sends it over, hits the top of the tape. The Raiders are there to play, and the mid hit is good. Not a whole lot of volleying thus far, John. It's been a lot of one pass, one set, one hit.
Yeah, Roseville has definitely been impressive up front so far. You know, with Erin Beer, she's been all over the front of the net, as well as Jada Johnston. Those two are very tall, and they use their size in order to get some points.
Nice serve there by Beer. It's played off nicely by the Polars, and now slammed home by Rodriguez. And like that, the Polars will gain the serve back. We're all knotted up here at 7, halfway through match number 1.
Yeah, Rodriguez continues to look impressive. Just a 5'7" junior, but she can get up over that net and spike it home.
Played up by Beer now, the back set. Slammed home, and it's just off the fingertips of Stenman, and so it'll be a Roseville point as they now lead it 8-7. Now Taylor Keenan for the Raiders. Sends it over, played up front. And again, Rodriguez slams it home. Good for a Polar point. That's a few kills for Rodriguez now.
Yeah, it makes a good 4 kills for her here in the early going. Absolutely looking impressive. Keeping the Polars in this set so far.
Sent over, unable to pass as Rodriguez sets it up now. Set far side, tapped over into the middle again. Roseville right up front. It's bounced around a bit, and the Polars unable to get it over as the ball kind of bounced around like a pinball there for a minute.
Yeah, I think you're definitely seeing the difference between these 2 teams. I mean, Roseville has a 2-4 record, but they have a lot of size compared to North St. Paul. And that's how they're getting their points here in the early going.
Now Kopp for the Raiders sends it over. Her plays it up front. Far set, slammed home nicely by Zakruski. Excuse me, that time it was Stenman. Lauren Stenman with a nice spike on the far side as we tie it up at 9.
Yeah, Stenman, the 5'8" sophomore, slamming this one with some authority. The defender didn't know what to do with it.
Played up front, again tipped at the line, and a nice job by the Raiders to improvise there and pick up the big point, go up by 1.
Yeah, that was a beautiful job there by the front line of Roseville. They could have just slammed it home on the first set, but she set her other player up for a nice spike.
Johnston catches the net on the serve, and so again, our 6th tie of the game is we're all tied up at 10, and now her back to serve, and it's sent up front. Back set, slammed home right in front of the diving Polar player Franco, and it's good for a Roseville point.
Yeah, good job by Sophia Kopp there, just reading where the defense was and putting it where they weren't.
And now the back set, and it's tipped over. The Raiders were right there. It looked like a little bit of net infraction. I think that would have been against the Polars regardless.
Yeah, Aaron Beer and Taylor Keenan are combining for that block and getting the point. Fantastic job up front.
Raiders have to scramble a bit. They send it into the middle, but it was played just beyond the inbounds marker, and so it's a Polar point. They trail now 12-11 here. First match. And back to serve is Stenman for the Polars. Sends a soft one into the middle, and that's a nice serve by Stenman. Kind of fooled the Raider defense.
Yeah, the Raider defense kind of congested all towards the ball. Nobody really knew who wanted to take it, and that one just falls in.
Stenman again, the same type serve. Tapped around at the line, and it falls down in front again. The Polars, a little bit of miscommunication, and it falls for a Raider point.
Yeah, good job by the Raiders. I mean, that's what I keep saying. You know, they're using their size up front. This is a very small Polar team, and they're very young as well. So the Raiders just using that size in order to get some points.
Punishing serve there, played nicely by the Polars. It's tapped into the middle, and a nice one at that. Able to fool the defense. Again, that's the senior Zakruski. As the Polars trail now, tie it up at 13. Sent over, played up front, the tip, and knocked down to the side. Nice job by the Polars to keep it alive. Bounced around now, and then a mid hit to the back corner, and it sails deep and out of play. It'll be a Polar point.
Yeah, the Polars got a little lucky on that one. I mean, that looked like an easy play for Roseville to get some points, but ball just goes out of bounds.
And now Keenan again with the mid hit, and it looks like a net infraction. It'll be another Raider point. So a couple of miscues by the Polars early here in set number 1. Nice serve there. Her does a nice job of playing it up. And that one catches the top of the net and falls out of play.
Yeah, this looks like the battle of the front lines in this game. Nobody really getting going towards the back. The ball's just been volleyed back and forth or spiked down here.
Now tapped around, played up by the Raiders. Sent far side. Able to get a hand on it. Was a diving Polar player, but it ends up falling out of play. It'll be a Roseville point as we take another look.
Yeah, nice job by Keenan, just slamming that one home. Defender really couldn't do anything with it. That was Stenman who just had to block her face from getting crushed.
Keenan now sends the serve back corner. It's played up by the Polars up front. Rodriguez tips it. Keenan plays it up. The set. Slam, a nice diving stop and dig by the Polars. Zakruski unable to hammer over the spike as the Raiders pick up the point. They now lead at 16-15.
Yeah, Roseville definitely looked like they know what their game plan is coming into this game, keeping the ball near the net, trying to get a few spikes, and it's working, and that's why they're winning.
Played up front now, the set for Martinez, and she slams it home through the defense. Picks up another kill.
Yeah, that's 5 kills now for Rodriguez. She's just so impressive. For being only 5'7", she plays like she's a heck of a lot bigger.
All tied at 16 now as the Polars send it over. That one catches the defender in the lip. Tipped into the middle. Rodriguez plays it up. Set far side. It's sent over in a good spot there. Volleyed a bit at the line. Now sent over. Played up front again, far set. And the spike is able to, fortunate spike there as that one caught a little bit of the top of the net.
Yeah, Stenman again, once, just a sophomore. She's got a powerful stroke there, and it just goes over the net.
And slammed home, and a nice job and good awareness that time by Stenman to pick up the Polar point. And just like that, the Polars, who have trailed in early most of this set number one, are now leading it by 2. Roseville grabs a timeout.
Yeah, they're finally counteracting the Roseville front line. They're realizing that in order to win this game, they're going to have to get a few spikes of their own, and Stenman with back-to-back great spikes. The same with Rodriguez. Those are a great 1-2 tandem. You got to think that's why they're 8-0 so far, and we'll see if they can kind of create some separation here and take this set here 1-0.
We take a look at the upcoming schedule for the Roseville Raiders. As you can see, they're taking on another SEC school here in just a couple of days as they'll visit the they'll host the White Bear Lake Bears.
Yeah, you'll see that they'll play Stillwater at the end of the year. Stillwater currently 7-2, 1-0 overall in the Suburban East. So that could come down to them winning that matchup in order to see where they sit, or that will determine where they stand in the Suburban East at the end of the year.
And so we're ready to get going again here now as the Polars with a 2-point lead will go ahead and serve and send it over. Played up front, the tip, and then slammed home nicely by number 11 Flagstad for the Raiders.
Yeah, it definitely seems like this Roseville team has some tall girls who can definitely get some spikes down. And, you got Flagstad, Beer, Johnston. These girls can do it all.
Sent over now. Played up by the Polars, a back hit. And it's sent right back over. Far set, hammered home, and a nice job there by the Polars. Stenman again with another kill. Between Rodriguez and Lauren Stenman, the 2 main hitters thus far for the Polars.
Yeah, nice set in order to get Stenman that ball. They set it pretty far, and Stenman just spiked that one down.
Fortunate bounce that time for Rodriguez as it falls over for the point. Now 20-17, the Polars have their biggest lead of the night. Rodriguez sends it over. Cuff plays it up. It catches a bit of the top of the gymnasium. Tough break for the Raiders.
Yeah, it really looked like number 7, Jada Johnson, didn't really know what to do with it once it was in the air. And nobody else was around, so the point falls. It's now a 4-point lead for the Polars as they look to create even more separation and take this set.
Late timeout here by the Raiders as they try to salvage game 1. We take a look at the Polars' upcoming schedule as they'll play host to the Mounds View Mustangs here on the 26th.
Biggest game of the year, Jeb, will be the September 27th at Hill Murray. Hill Murray 4-0 in conference. So if North St. Paul takes this one, they'll be sitting at 9-0, but still 2 games back at Hill Murray, looking to get a few more, looking to get a big conference win against them. And, they're likely looking for Hill Murray's number. Claire Westby for Hill Murray just looked unstoppable against Matamidi a few weeks ago. She's one of the better players in the conference and probably the state. So that'll be a tough one to see how North St. Paul reacts to how good Hill Murray is.
Absolutely, should be a good one when those 2 teams come together. Rodriguez now back at it, sends it over, tipped up front, hammered down, played nicely by the Polars to keep it alive. Set up again now by the Polars, far side. Deep hit, her is there. They tip into the middle and a nice dig by the Polars to keep it alive. Rodriguez up front, far set, hammered down by Stenman, is played nicely by the Polars. Far side again, her is there to play it. It's back set to Rodriguez and just out of play, nearly caught the line. Nice volley by both teams, and it ends up in a Roseville point.
Yeah, once again, Rodriguez just using that strength and that little body of hers in order to hit that ball. Unfortunately, it just goes Roseville way out of bounds.
Now played up again, far side. Hammered down, and this time it's good for the Polars.
7 points now for Selena Rodriguez. She's looking unstoppable here in the early going, scoring almost 33% of her team's points here in the first set.
22-18, the Polars send it over, and kind of an awkward pass there, just out of the reach. And so it falls for another North point.
Yeah, nice job by Charisma Her, the 5'3" senior. As we talked about, the seniors are stepping up here. Zakruski and Her here in the early going.
Now up front, Kopp the set. Played over, Her's back to play it. The set up front now is tipped around. And Roseville's forced to just play it back. Rodriguez sends it up. The set, far side. Again, hammered down by the Polars, and that one drops for the point.
You'll see a nice set here for Charisma Her, and she'll smack it down home right off the front line defender's fingertips, and it gets in there.
Played up, just out of play for the Raiders.
Couldn't get any closer than that, Jeb. That went right over the net, right outside the line, and the Polars will take the first set here, 25-18.
Nice job by both teams, and a resilience shown by the Polars to battle back as they trailed most of that first set.
Yeah, the Polars, as you just said, were behind it, but it seemed like Roseville really got away from what they did best in the early going. Erin Beer was all over the court, smacking balls down. The 5'10" junior, she was really the backbone for Roseville, but she never really saw the ball there once it was about 10-10.
So the Polars sneak away with set number 1 and a final of 25-18. We'll see what type of adjustments the Raiders will look to make, as it looked like their initial game plan was right on point, as they led most of the game, as we touched on, but in the end, the Polars, as they have done all year, remain undefeated.
Yeah, I think, like we said, once the ball started going a little beyond the net, Roseville's game was to keep the ball within, right next to the net and get some blocks, get some easy spikes. But once the game started going a little longer, Selena Rodriguez got going, and she got some great hits, some great spikes, even some great serves there in that first set.
Nice job by Sandifer as well to set for Rodriguez. Folks, we want to remind you about all our different social media outlets.
Yeah, remember to always follow us on Facebook.com/SCCTV, as well as you can catch this game likely tomorrow morning on YouTube.com/SCCTV. You can catch all the latest updates on our Twitter as well. Our Instagram is not that active, but we're starting to get things undergoing, and that lady is probably liking us on Twitter right now. Give us a follow, give us a like. Good things at SCC Community TV.
As we get set for match number 2.
Yeah, I think if you're North, you got to just continue to play the game the way they did there after that, first 10, when the game was around 10-10. Just keep the ball long, create some setups for Rodriguez. But Lauren Stenman had some very nice kills for North. But as I talked about, Roseville's got to get back to what got them going when they had the lead in the early going, which just keep the ball closer to the net, let Beer get some easy spikes, because she looked like she could either spike it hard, or she even had some soft serves that got up got some points as well.
And we talked about this matchup history and how North has kind of always been the higher seed, dating all the way back to 2012, but yet it was the Raiders that have come up big in postseason play.
Yeah, it's really weird. I mean, if you look at the section history, Roseville, they get dominated in the regular season by North, but then in the section they dominate going back to 2012, 3-0. 2013 they win 3-0. 2014 they win 3-2. 2013 and 2015 and 2016 they win 3-0 in both of those as well. But will this be the year that the Raiders sweep, that the Polars sweep the Raiders? And I think we could see that happen, but volleyball is really any given day here when these teams are as good as they are.
Absolutely, it certainly is, and it's a matter of just who's on what game, a matter of inches, as they say.
Yeah, it's kind of like golf.
As we get set here for match number 2, the Raiders will serve first. It's Valerie Kuff back to serve for the Raiders. It's sent over, played up nicely. And the set again for Rodriguez. Great job by the Raiders, and the Polars able to send it back over on their own as well. Tipped backside, Kerr's able to play it. Far set, sent over by Rodriguez. The Raiders able to play it back. Now again the set for Rodriguez, slammed home. Two Raider defenders are there to tip it around. Now backside, and that one's good for the Raiders as Aaron Beer slams her home.
Yeah, great job by Taylor Keenan getting Selena Rodriguez's initial spike and keeping the ball alive, and eventually Aaron Beer will end up with the point.
Now the set. This time it's sent tipped right at the line by the Raiders. A good reflection there, just kind of a reaction play by Roseville, and they lead it early here 2-0.
That's what I was talking about there in the break. You know, if Roseville can keep the game near the net, they're gonna win a set here.
Stenman sets, and it's tapped down nicely that time by Franco. She gets the Polars back on the board.
They haven't called the sophomore's name too much, but she definitely has the size up there. She's had some nice blocks in the first set. Let's hope she can continue that here in the second one.
And now Sandifer back to serve. Sends a booming serve over and tipped around, and that'll drop again for Roseville.
Yeah, Taylor Keenan continues to dominate in the front of the net. She had some great spikes in the first set, and just one right here, putting Roseville up 3-1 over the Polars.
Sent over now. Kerr plays it. Sandifer able to keep it alive. It's Kerr that sends it over. Far set, this time hammered down. Good effort there by Kerr, but unable to come up with it. Now the Raiders lead it by 3.
As you see here is a nice setup here for Beer, and Beer once again gets a nice spike.
Sandifer sets, it's hammered home, and a nice job on the backside. Sent over by the Raiders, again the set. Hammered down and tipped at the line, and Roseville doing a nice job of getting hands on it. This one taps around and drops in to the soft spot, and the Raiders now out to their biggest lead of the night.
Yeah, Taylor Keenan, the only senior here for Roseville, definitely showing it here in the second set.
This one tips around. Kerr's there to play it. Sandifer far side. Koff momentarily kept it up. It ends up falling for the North St. Paul point.
Yeah, Rubelke there getting the point on that one. Just a freshman, showing that she belongs. I think she's also a starter for the basketball team as well.
And Rodriguez's jump serve is just a little out of reach.
Yeah, she's got a lot of power for how big she is. You know, she's definitely showing why she's one of the better players in the conference, but that was just a little too far.
Now Beer to serve, sends it backside, and that one sails deep. And so both teams trade some long serves, and it'll bring Charisma Herr back to serve for the Polars. They trail by 3, 6-3 early here in the second set. And now Kerr sends one deep. Just a little bit of adrenaline rush here.
Yeah, it looks like these teams are amped up, ready to go here in the second set, as they're just doing a little back and forth of who can hit the ball farther out of bounds.
And we'll see what Keenan has now for the Raiders as she sends one over.
One of the serves actually hit our camera guy. He's amped up over there.
Polars now play it up just up front, tapped around. Now back set is Rodriguez, and too many hits for the North.
Yeah, it looked like the ball just went off, you know, the wrist area of Rodriguez and went right near another North St. Paul player, but that was already the third hit. So point goes to Roseville, who now is winning by 5.
Nice job by Sandifer there in order to keep the play alive. The Raiders now have to send one over. Again, and right up front, it was Martinez trying to take advantage, and it ends up in a Raider point. And the biggest lead of the night for the Raiders is they now lead it by 6 with a score of 9-3.
Yeah, back-to-back miss hits and a series of unfortunate events. Lemony Snicket there for North St. Paul.
At that time, no questions asked, as it's hammered down nicely by Stenman. She adds to her kill total.
Yeah, Stenman just continues to impress here in this game. She's absolutely looking dominant near the top of the net.
Stenman to serve, sends a One right into the underbelly, and Aaron Beer with the dive, unable to keep it alive.
Yeah, nice hustle there by Beer. Unfortunately, he was just a little short and hits it right back into the net.
As they quick wipe the floor. 9-5 now, the Polars trail as Stenman again back to serve. And again, sends one softly into the underbelly. The Raiders are forced to just play it up. Set far side, tipped around, and Kerr is there nicely. Stenman the back set, slammed down, and a good job by Beer to keep it alive. Tipped around, and again, a good diving play by Rodriguez. All the way up front, Kopp the set, hammered to the backside, and that one falls just inside. Beautifully placed, a nice volley by both teams. It ends up in a Roseville Raider point.
Yeah, Flagstad just hitting the ball where the defense was, and all they could hope for is that was going to be a little far. But she'll get the point as that just gets inside the line.
And now Kopp sends it. Her plays it up front. Stenman sets. Rodriguez throws it to the back. Now far side, Cook leaves it there. It's tipped around and just out of the reach of the diving Rodriguez. And it's again another Roseville point. That time it was Keenan for the Raiders.
Yeah, it looks like we got a pair of sisters and twins on here. You know, we got McKenna Keenan, Taylor Keenan, Valerie Kuth, and Lydia Kuth, both freshmen. So they're twins.
That one falls just out of play. Now Roseville, 7-point lead, 12-5 here. Set number 2. The Polars won set number 1.
Yeah, I'm very surprised at how bad, or how good Roseville has looked here in the second set. They looked like, the first set didn't get them down. They're coming out guns firing, and they're definitely taking advantage. It looks like North is just coming up a little slow, not doing exactly what they were doing there in the first set. They need to get Selena Rodriguez going here in order to come back in this match, as well as Stenman.
We'll see if they can get them going here as they trail by 7. Stenman now tips up front. It's bounced over by the Polars. Now bounced around, and again, far set. Hammered down. Played up by the Raiders. See if they can keep it alive. They do. They send it over. Her's there to play. Stenman the set. Hammered down nicely that time by Martinez. And no questions asked there as she sends it home.
A great job there by Martinez to get this hit. Smacking it right towards the back line. There's nothing Beer could do on that one.
Rebelke now sends it far side. Kopp back set for the Raiders. Played up, now Stenman, far side for Rodriguez, and she sends one to the back corner. And just like we talked about getting Rodriguez and Stenman going, Stenman sets for Selena Rodriguez, and it ends up in a Polar point. Now they trail 12-7.
Yeah, 8 points now for Rodriguez.
Rebelke again, a good serve as Kopp's forced to just send it over. And tipped around, and diving stop there. Again, Her is there to play it. Stenman far side for Rodriguez, and she gets it to fall in front of the 2 Raider blockers.
Yeah, Rodriguez, sometimes it's unfortunate she's not a little taller because her serves don't have the angle to go down and get more points, but, she's got a very strong hit.
Kopp keeps it alive for the Raiders. Kopp sends it over. Her in the set. Rodriguez this time tips it into the soft spot of the defense. And the diving Kopp unable to keep it alive for the Raiders. Polars cut the lead now to 3. It's 12-9.
And that's 3 straight points for Rodriguez. As I was just talking about, get her going. You're going to come back in this game, and they're doing exactly that, scoring 4 straight points here as they were down 12-5 a couple minutes ago.
And now Rebelke. Jump serve far side, and that one's a little bit deep. And it sails out of play. Roseville now 13-9, picks up the serve.
Yeah, the freshman putting all of her body in that one. Sorry, Jeb.
Jada Johnston back to serve for the Raiders. Her plays it up, far set. Rodriguez again slams it home on the near side. Picks up the Polar point.
Yeah, she's picked up the last 5 points now for North. They're getting her going. They're only down by 3.
Back to serve is Martinez. She booms one over. Nice job by the Raiders as they made that one look easy, John.
Yeah, it looks like that was number 3, McKenna Keenan, the younger McKeenan, just a sophomore, but she's got definitely some power to her. That was a heck of a spike.
Nice job all around the pass, the set. As her plays it up, then in the back set, and it's tipped at the tape. Far side, her with a diving play, and it's just out of play.
That was about as close as it could be there, Jeb. Looked like it went right over that pole there on the net. I don't know how much closer it could be than that.
Fantastic effort, just falls short. As now again Rodriguez. It's tipped at the line. The Raiders able to keep it alive. Far side, Beer slams it home. Polar's doing a nice job as Rodriguez's serve is played up. Now Keenan again, sent up. Her back set for Rodriguez again, this time tipped. The Raiders are there to play it. Now they send one over. Played up the set for the Polars, bounces around a bit, and the Raiders able to keep her alive. Stennen, far set. Rodriguez sends it to the back corner. And again, unable to fool the Raiders. A good volley going this time for both teams. Tipped into the middle again. The Raiders are there. Kopp the set. Beer sends one just out of play. A beautiful volley as both teams exchanging blows and mind tactics.
Took the words right out of my mouth, Jeb. They just fantastic hustle on both sides, especially the players on the back side of both sides of the court. They had a lot of hustle, keeping those balls alive, and eventually the ball goes out for Roseville.
Her does a nice job digging that one and now sends it over. Kopp, far set. Beer again. And Rebelke's there for the Polars. Now Rodriguez off the top of the net. No block on the play, and so it'll be a Raider point. Good call by the officials.
That's what I was talking about, Jeb. That size by Rodriguez sometimes comes back to nip her in the butt. She doesn't get that nice plane when she hits it to hit it straight down, so she's kind of got to hit it a little more up, and it's easier for the defenders to hit the ball right back.
Now, that time Stenman leads where she left off as she slams one home. No questions asked, and you could tell the distinct height difference in Stenman. They got it listed at 5'8", and Rodriguez at 5'7". I would say it's a little bit more of a height advantage for Stenman.
Yeah, Stenman once again picking up another point there. 2 straight points for Stenman. Yeah, she's probably a good 6 feet tall, 5'11". She's dominant up there. She's got some nice blocking skills, and she has a heck of a spike. I would not want to be in the way of that.
This time Rodriguez fools Koff in the backside there and cuts it to 16-14.
Now there's the athletic director, Jed Helwig. They got a new basketball coach there for North.
Yes, Stenman again. It's blocked by the Raiders. Her keeps it alive. Sent over by the Polars. Now they have some trouble as it hits the top of the gymnasium. Her sends it up front. Far set for Rodriguez backside. And the Raiders bounce around. Just not enough distance. A good job of keeping the ball alive. It ends up falling for a Polar point. 16-14 they trail. Yes, Rodriguez is back to serve. Sent over Johnston and now slammed home. Rodriguez. Good diving effort that time.
Yeah, nice hit by Johnson. Rodriguez really couldn't do anything with that but stick her arms out there. Let's talk about how good that Raider volley was on the point before this one. The ball went off the divider, and they still kept her alive in order to volley it back over the other side of the net. I thought that was really impressive.
Sandifer the set, hammered down again by Stenman. No questions asked on that one. As Stenman picks up another kill.
Yeah, as we talked about, Rodriguez and Stenman, they had to get going in order to get back in this game. Those two have got going, and now they're only down by 1 point. I'm going to guess they're going to come away with a lead here in the next couple of minutes.
Her with a good serve as Kopp has to scramble for it. It's sent over. Rodriguez plays it up. Sandifer far set. It's tipped around at the line.
Looks like we're going to get a double hit on Rodriguez right there, unfortunately. But as we've seen, Roseville's gotten away from what made them have the lead earlier, just like they did in the first set. They haven't kept the ball in front of the net. The ball's been going farther farther in their backcourts, and that's not the game they play.
This time able to take advantage of the errant pass as Flagstead slaps her home. Now 19-16, the Raiders lead as they look to try to close out set number 2. They trail 1-0. Played up as Her has to jump in on the set, and just off of the fingertips of number 3 for the Polars, unable to slam her home. Take a look at the first-year head coach Stephanie Blanda, doing a heck of a job here as her team is undefeated thus far.
Yeah, doing a heck of a job. Taking over for Steve Anderson, thanks to the guys in the truck on the name drop right there. But yes, Steve Anderson, he usually had good teams for the Polars, but Stephanie Blanda picking up right where he left off. Undefeated so far and winning the first set so far today.
Stenman sends one just out of the reach of Beer. The Polars cut the lead to 3. It's 20-18 here late in set number 2.
Beer just misjudging that one completely, and it goes off her hands out of bounds.
Well, again, Stenman sends one to the back. Played awkwardly by the Raiders, unable to get over. Stenman far set, and it's slammed down by number 3 for the Polars. And it's a 1-point game.
Yeah, number 3, she's kind of like Rodriguez. She's got to time her spikes just right and hit them as hard as she can in order to get those points.
Stenman again now, a tough serve. Played up nicely by the Raiders and slammed home by Flagstead for Roseville.
Yeah, Flagstead showing some impressive kills here in the last couple points, and that's exactly what Roseville needs to keep doing. They need to keep the ball near the net, get some easy spikes. They're taller, they're bigger.
Sent over now, Her. Stenman the set for Rodriguez. It's sent right over. Now Kopp the back set. And it's hammered down by the Raiders. Polars have to scramble a bit as it hits the top of the gymnasium. Now Kopp, far set, this time for Johnston, and that one is just deep. Again, 1-point game, 21-20, the Raiders lead it, but Rebelke comes in to serve for the Polars.
Yeah, impressive job by the Polars to keep the ball on once it hit the ceiling and keep that ball going, and they'll pick up the point thanks to good hustle.
Sent over, Kopp has to run for the set. Hammered down, but Her is there for the Polars. Now Rodriguez gets a nice roll, but not the call, as it just drops out of play there.
It's about as close as that could get, Jeb. And now it's going to be a 2-point lead that could have easily been called in.
Fortunate bounce that time for the Polars as that one catches the net. It still remains a 1-point game here. 22-21, the Raiders lead it. It's back to serve as Martinez. Sends a boomer just out of play.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of serves by North go far. I mean, I think that's what they know. They like to get the far side of the court there for Roseville, opportunities with the ball, because if Roseville gets the ball on the near front of the court, they got the size to spike her on home.
Tough play there, an alert play by Taylor Keenan to slam her down. Is Roseville now with a match point, 24-21, looking to take game 2. And Koff sends it over. Rodriguez plays it up. Stennan the set. Hammered down, but just out of play for Martinez. And the Raiders will grab game number 2 with a final of 25-21.
Yeah, Roseville just looking absolutely dominant there, almost the whole set. They did just like their first set. They got away from what made them good, keeping the ball up close, getting some easy spikes with their taller girls compared to they definitely have the size advantage towards North up front. So if North hits a weak little hit in front of the net, Roseville will always be there. But great play by Barrett Flagstad, the junior, and Taylor Keenan, just looking impressive in front of the net.
So the Raiders grab game number 2. We tie it up at 1 game apiece as we get set for match number 3 in just a few minutes.
Hey, how would you like to be Coach Stephanie Blanda? Coming in here from scratch, they got a great program already here at North for volleyball, but taking your team to go 8-0 here in the early going, and it's not like they're just beating teams that are that are scrubs. You know, they beat Woodbury, Edina, Blaine, Sibley, you know, decent teams here. Woodbury's not sitting too bad. They're currently, oh no, they are very bad. 0-6, excuse me. You know, but Blaine and Sibley are no teams to mess around with.
Oh, certainly tough shoes to fill, like you said, and Blanda's done a heck of a job of picking up right where the previous coaching regime left off. We'll talk about some of the upcoming games that SCC Sports will be covering, and we've got football Friday night. Matamidi takes on St. Thomas. My colleague Johnny Miller will bring you the game.
Yeah, that should be a good matchup. Matamidi versus St. Thomas. Two teams in the same conference looking to go at it. You know, St. Thomas is normally, you know, just below the top of the pack in the conference. You know, Matamidi's lost a lot of players from last year, but they're still sitting pretty good. And it's definitely going to be a matchup that'll determine who is at the top of the Metro East.
And a few more volleyball games and a sprinkle in a boys soccer game there as we kind of close out the start of the fall athletics with the section tournament coverage as well.
Yeah, South St. Paul versus Matamidi is another good football game. South St. Paul winning the Metro East Conference last year. Very impressive team, and they're doing pretty well this year. So Matamidi's got some tough games going in order to see where they sit going into the sections. On the 29th, they'll be live, courtesy of Town Square, for the South St. Paul versus Matamidi game. It's always fun to watch the games live, so check out Town Square Television. You know, find it on TV, or maybe they have a streaming service on their website. Not too familiar with Town Square Television.
Got some good upcoming broadcasts, to say the least.
Definitely no SCC, you know what I mean.
We get ready for game number 3. We talked about the matchup history early on in the broadcast and how the Polars have been a pretty dominant team during the regular season, but once we get into section play in postseason, the Raiders have had their number dating all the way back to 2012.
Yeah, some crazy, you know, just because, like, as I talked about, regular season's much different than sections. Teams rise to the occasion in sections, and it looks like whatever Roseville is doing with Coach Greg Euland, he gets his team to rise up and, you know, just come out guns a-blazing in order to beat North, because North dominates them in the regular season. But, you know, it's different players every year, so we'll see what'll happen this year. Maybe they won't even meet in the sections again. Who knows?
Absolutely. It'll be interesting to see, and if they do, will it be the year the Polars can finally find a way to pass up the Raiders? We get set for game number 3 here. The court has been cleared from our halftime festivities.
Yeah, as you see Sophia Kopp right there, you know, waving and fanning herself down. It's very hot in this gymnasium. That could, you know, fatigue the players just a little bit more here. So let's see who's conditioned the best and who comes away with this second set in order to take a 2-1 lead.
As the officials get both teams squared away, final seconds will tick off the clock here. And the Polars will start out set number 3. Back to serve is Bria Sandifer for the Polars.
Hey, there's our beautiful faces right there.
Glad to have you guys with us here tonight.
We definitely, you got a face for TV, Jeff. I got a face for radio.
I beg to differ.
So Roseville get the first point on that one with the spike from number 12, Taylor Keenan, as she gets going once again. And if you're Roseville, I think Taylor Keenan's got to keep going in order to beat the Polars.
Sandifer that time tried to fool the Raider defense, and it's sent over awkwardly. Down to the ground was Rodriguez, unable to play it up. And just like Roseville has done in the first 2 games, they start out with an early lead. They lead it 2-0. It's now Lydia Koth to serve. That one hits the top of the tape.
Yeah, Koth needs to get that one over. You know, 2-0. You want to create as big a lead as possible because this is a very good North team. But as I talked about, they want to keep the ball near the net. Let those big girls spike it as Rodriguez spikes that one into the net.
And so 3-1 the Raiders now. Back to serve is Beer.
Yeah, as you can see, the sweaty court coming into play here. Nobody wants to get injured.
And now Beer to serve.
See a nice shot right here, the serve.
Sent over as Her's able to play it. And tipped right up front by 2 Raider defenders. Now Her tips her over. Kopp the set. It's hammered far side, just off the fingertips of Sandifer. And it's another Raider point.
Yeah, Keenan, once again, using that big size of hers and spiking it down. As I talked about, Roseville, if they keep the ball around the net in order for the bigger girls to just spike it, they're going to win.
Sandifer the serve, and this one goes deep, nearly into our camera.
And the Roseville player retrieve the ball.
And again, it's just about took out us in the broadcast here.
Oh, it almost took out the cameraman. He's taking his licks today. And there's another point for Roseville, and they're up 5-1 here. As we talked about, you know, if Roseville can keep this going, they look impressive. There's our impressive cameraman there.
It's now played up. This time Kopp has to run. It's sent over by Johnston, and the Polars able to play it. Bounced around. This time Stenman is there to hammer it home. Anytime it's laid up that easily for Lauren Stenman, chances are it's another kill.
Yeah, Stenman with at least 10 points tonight. She, as I talked about, you know, North has to use their size in order to counteract Roseville's size if they're going to come back in this one.
Johnston sends it over. Stenman able to keep it alive as Her sends it back. Played up front again, Kopp. Now this time Johnston sends it to the back. Rodriguez is there. Sandifer the set. Stenman's hit was blocked at the tape, but it looks like it drops in for a Polar point. As they cut the lead now to 1, it's 5-4. The Raiders lead it.
Yeah, Stenman with another good hit. She continues to look impressive here tonight.
That gives her 8 on the night to be exact. Kopp again sets. Johnston tips it over. A little bit of miscommunication by the Polars, and it drops for a Raider point.
Yeah, good job by the Polars to answer back here. They were down 5-1, and now they're now only down by 2. We'll see if Keenan could get a nice serve here to get Roseville going.
It's sent back as Rodriguez plays it up. And again, a little bit of miscommunication between Sandifer and Her, and it drops in for Roseville.
Yeah, I think, you know, you're the libero. If you're Her, you gotta take that ball.
As it's tipped around and out of reach. And it drops for a Polar point.
Another hit there by Stenman. She continues to impress.
Stenman now sends it over. It's played up by Beer. And Roseville does a nice job of keeping it alive, and ultimately the point. Great job by, I believe, Flagstead at the line.
Yeah, Flagstead, Keenan, and Beer. They got to keep getting those ladies the ball, and you're gonna have a successful third set here.
Kopp sends it up, but just not quite over. And the Polars now trail by 2. It's 8-6, excuse me. Set number 3, 1 game apiece. The Polars took game number 1, and the Raiders answered back in game number 2.
Yeah, Roseville definitely woke up there in that second set.
A little bit of miscommunication that time by Flagstead and Kopp. She went to go tip it over.
Yeah, not back-to-back good plays there for Kopp. You know, first he served it into the net, and then a little miscommunication there.
Kopp this time, and it's blocked at the line as Keenan tried to slam her home. And the Polars now have tied it up at 8.
Yeah, Keenan just misjudging that ball barely. She wanted to spike that one in on home, but she spiked it right into the net.
Rebelke sends it over. And now Koth forced to send it over. Her and Rebelke tag team forward as Rodriguez is blocked at the line. The Raiders with 2 defenders come up big on Selena Rodriguez.
Yeah, looks like that's Flagstad again. It's so impressive here tonight. Just the junior, 6 feet.
Her plays it up. Stenman with the set, and a nice spike there by the Polars. Far side, it's played up again. Her plays it up front. Rodriguez sends it to the middle. Beer is there. Backside, tipped around the line, and Keenan eventually gets the point for the Raiders. Oh, excuse me, that was a Polar point. And we're tied at 9.
Yeah, just a little too much strength there in that hit, and goes out of bounds.
Bounced around as Keenan puts it nicely down the line. The Polar's unable to play it.
Yeah, Keenan was like, I'm not going to hit it too hard this time. I'm going to gently put it over there on the far side, and she'll pick up the point. That was very impressive. Let's talk about the libero there for Roseville, number 24, Koth. Just a freshman, expected to do a lot.
This time the senior Zakruski comes through big for the Polars as she slams that one home.
Yeah, a few names we haven't called too much in this, second and third set is Rodriguez and Zakruski. So let's see if they can get going for North.
Koth plays it up, Kopp the set, slammed down by Beer. Rodriguez is there. Sandifer sets for the Polars, bounced around at the line, and the Raiders able to keep it alive. As Her sends it up front, Sandifer back set for Stenman, and counted another kill for Lauren Stenman. And that gives her 9 on the night.
And 9 kills now for Stenman. Continuing just to be practically the whole offense for North.
Polars now take their first lead here in set 3 as Kopp sets. Slammed home nicely, and now Beer's there at the line to tip her down. Nice job by the Raiders to answer back as Keenan with the first spike, and then eventually it's Beer to clean things up at the line.
Yeah, these girls up front, they know what they're doing for Roseville, and they've been very impressive.
That one flies errant, and just like that, we are all tied for just a minute, and now the Polars 12-11 over the Raiders is Rodriguez to serve.
Yeah, the Polars getting their first lead of the set. Let's see if they can keep it.
Rodriguez plays it up. Sandifer the set. Nice block up front by the Raiders. Stenman's forced to just send it over. As Kopp far side set. Beer slams her home. It's bounced around. Just out of play.
Yeah, you'll see this great job by the Roseville defender just to let this one go. Beer had a great spike, and the defender hits it back over the net, but it just goes out of bounds.
Tough play there for Franco at the net. And it ends up dropping down for the Raiders as they trail by 1 now, 13-12. Aaron Beer back to serve. As Beer sends one cross side, Hers there. Sandifer the back set for Rodriguez. And it's played up by Cook. Now at the line, nice job as Keenan slammed one home. Tipped around and it ends up dropping for a Raider point.
And there's Keenan getting a nice block and putting the ball back on the other side of the net in order to pick up another point. Beer looks very impressive. She's got a nice serve.
This time it's Her playing it up. Rodriguez there to help. Her just over as it bounced around. And out of play, the Polars get away with one. As that one just a game of inches caught the top of the tape and dropped over.
Yeah, I think Jada Johnson waited just a little too long to go after that ball. And she hits it out of bounds.
Now Her sends it over. This time bounced around, kind of a fortunate point for the Raiders that time. And they'll take it as now we're all tied at 14. Halfway through game number 3, 1 game apiece for both clubs.
Yeah, definitely an even match here. Both these teams, not one is standing, apart from the other one.
Nice job by Beer to dig that one, but Johnston unable to play it up. So the Polars grab the go-ahead point as Zakruski comes back into the game for North. Stenman sends it over. Beer plays it up. Kopp the set, front side. Rodriguez. Now Stenman back to Rodriguez. She sends one just over the line. A nice touch there by Selena Rodriguez. Just able to measure it right over the line.
Yeah, Rodriguez just kind of tipping that over the net, and the defenders really didn't know what to do with it after it hit it, and fortunately falls in between two of them.
Beer now. Kopp goes up, and up was Martinez right with her, able to get the point. And just like that, Greg Uland calls a timeout for the Raiders as they now trail 17-14 here late in set number 3.
Yeah, the Raiders didn't do too much here to go down by 3. A couple bad bounces go their way, and a couple good bounces if you're North St. Paul. But they took Stenman out, so they needed some other players to step up. Selena Rodriguez, we haven't called her name much here in the third set. Awfully quiet. She's been playing back. I think you need to get her some more sets up near the net. Same with Stenman if they're going to hold on to this 17-14 lead here in the third set.
Both teams have, like you said, been very evenly matched. I mean, the biggest lead I think we've seen all night is 6 points, and that's through 3 games.
Yeah, I don't even think that lead lasted very long either. I think that was Roseville on top of North, and North ended up coming back to win the set of that one, I'm pretty sure. There's Rodriguez right there. That's what I was talking about. We need to get her going if you're North St. Paul. This Stenman is still out of the game.
Now served over. And a nice job that time by Stenman.
Oh, excuse me. Stenman is in the game. She was just serving the ball. I couldn't see her behind the referee.
18-14 now. The Polars lead it. Stenman sends it over. Again, a tough one. Koth able to play it. Kopp sends it over. Her up front. Stenman the set. Bounced around at the line. And again, Stenman will set for Rodriguez on the back set. In Beer in more of a defensive play. And that one goes out of play, and it ends up in a Polar point. 19-14, they lead it.
Yeah, there's another timeout. I mean, how hard was that ball hit if Beer just put her hands up and it deflected all the way across the other side of the net out of bounds? So great kill there for North.
That it was. Folks, chances are you'll be able to see that most recent kill by Rodriguez on our upcoming Sports Path show. SCC community as Johnny Miller and Sam Erickson bring you Sports Path every other Wednesday live at 7 o'clock.
Yeah, every other Wednesday. We are actually live tomorrow at 7 o'clock. We'll have the social media montage, players of the week, and all your latest standings for all your Fab Four schools. So it's always a good time. Let's so stay tuned, as well as you could find that on our YouTube channel after it's aired.
Stenman lightly sends one over. It's played up nicely. Now slammed up at the line and hammered right back over by Zakruski. Smart play by the senior.
Zakruski with her third kill of the night here. Fourth now. Continuing to look impressive when Stenman isn't the one doing it.
This time Stenman drops one in nicely, catches the Raiders a bit off guard there.
Yeah, Stenman's has been very impressive serving the ball tonight. She knows exactly the kind of touch she wants to put on it. Strong, hard, she's got it.
This time Beer plays it up front and again tipped at the line. And it looks like the timeout by head coach Greg Uland is a bit backfiring. It's now 22-14. North has pulled away a bit here late in game 3 as Stenman's serve catches the net.
North with their biggest lead of the night now, or it was 8, but now it's down to 7. Let's see if Roseville can answer back. I think they need to put back in Keenan here. She was their most dominant player tonight, and she's been off the court for a good couple minutes.
Kopp sends one as Her has a little bit of trouble with the pass. And this one ends up in a Raider point as they look to go on a run and try to steal game number 3. One game apiece from both sides. As Kopp with the jump serve. Her plays it up. Stenman far set. That one caught at the line. Zakruski had maybe mistimed the jump slightly. 22-17 now. North leads it.
Yeah, good job by Flegstad. She got 5 points or 5 kills on the night, just continuing to look impressive.
Tipped around, Martinez plays it over. As the Raiders now send it over. Nice diving play by her. Stenman keeps it alive. And now on the backside, Johnston sends one up and over. And that's good for a Roseville point. It's 22-18 here late in set number 3.
Yeah, Johnston with a great effort on that one. She had her initial spike blocked, and then she had another hit back over the net, and then finally kills her to put her team only down by 4.
Her plays it up. Stenman the back set. Slammed home by number 3. Now far side, Johnston again. Stenman's there as her sets for Zakruski. Played up by Kopp. Kept alive, and Beer unable to play it out of play. Nice job by the senior Zakruski. Ends up in a North St. Paul point. And a big one at that as they lead it now 23-18. Rebelke comes in to serve.
Yeah, Zakruski, you know, once again picking up another point there. Exactly what North needed. They needed somebody else to step up besides Rodriguez and Stemmen. Zakruski's done that the last part of the third set here.
So the freshman Rebelke comes in to serve for the Polars. See if they can put this one away. It's sent over. Koth plays it up. Tipped by Kopp. Just out of the reach of Flagstad. And it's match point now. 24-18. North leads it. Rebelke sends it over. Beer plays it up. Kopp the set for Flagstad. Played up. Stenman now far side. Slant down by Rodriguez. Not too many points by Selena Rodriguez in set number 3, but she comes up big with the final one in the match point.
Yeah, I feel like she had 8 kills there in the first set, and she just picked up another one. I think that'll be her 11th kill once the scoreboard updates. There it goes. So she's got 11 kills now, and I mean, a lot of people stepped up for that North team, but mostly they relied on Stenman and Martinez. Martinez with a couple good hits back and forth, but they're, you know, they go up 2-1 now, looking to put this one away. And Roseville looked, you know, they didn't look bad in that on that set. They had a lot of good things going. They just, you know, as I said, if the ball gets a little longer and their players up front can't, you know, aren't able to get the spikes or the blocks, that's not their kind of ball game.
As we take a look at the bracket from last year's 4 AAA, you can see the Polars were victorious over Mahtomedi early on in the quarterfinals, where the Raiders took out the Mustangs.
Roseville, the number 1 seed throughout it all, and then they eventually beat Stillwater there in the championship. North St. Paul losing to Stillwater in the second round, so they could have played each other there in the section championship if North St. Paul would have won.
Yeah, we talk about the Raiders having a relatively inexperienced team. Only 1 senior on the team, that's Taylor Keenan. But on the other side, the Polars in a similar boat with only 2 seniors in Charisma Herr and Elena Zakruski. So both teams, even though they don't have many upperclassmen, so to say, they certainly play like they do.
Yeah, I mean, Selena Rodriguez, though, she's been around for a few years. It's the same with Stenman. I feel like I called her name a lot last year. And, you know, Roseville, very young team. Keenan's their best player, obviously. She's had, how many points does she have tonight? She's got 12 there. She is not on the scoreboard, but I think she's got about 8 to 10. And they looked very impressive. They don't look like a 2-4 team. They definitely came in here looking to win, and I think they still have a chance. And we'll see if they can come back here in the 4th set and tie this one up.
Yeah, see if they can force that game number 5. As we get set here for game number 4 in just a few seconds. Take a look at head coach Stephanie Blanda talking to her team maybe about the upcoming schedule after tonight, where they'll play host to the Mustangs from Mounds View.
Yeah, at Hill Murray against Claire Westby, one of the best players in the state. That's going to be a very tough game, and I think that's going to show you where North St. Paul is, you know, in regards to their season, about how good they are. But they're definitely showing you why tonight, why they're 8-0. You know, a lot of good things going on. Even though, you know, they've kind of lost the battle of the near the net, you know, but Rodriguez, you know, who plays a little mid to long game, has some good spikes and some good hits, as well as Charisma Her. She's had a lot of great digs tonight, keeping the ball alive in order for Stenman to get some good spikes that she's had.
We get set here for match number 4 as it's sent over by the Raiders. Far side, Stenman. And that one is just out.
That looked out of bounds to me, Jeff, from this angle. And I think if you're the linesman here, you need to pay a little bit more attention.
I thought that was out as well, so it looks like they got the call right. It's 1-0 again. The Raiders strike first. Sent over this time, and Franco.
Yeah, Franco just putting a nice touch on there, just pushing the ball over the net in order to get the point.
And now in to serve for the Polars is Sandifer. She slams a boomer home, and that's good for an ace. There's nothing the Roseville Raiders could do. The powerful slam by Sandifer.
Yeah, Sandifer, just a server. That's the only time she comes in the game, so she's pretty good at it. And, you know, reward the coach with believing in you to serve the ball.
Played up now, Kopp, the far set for Beer as she sends one down. Her's able to play it. Sandifer keeps it alive. And the official indicates that it hit the ground.
I think that was a bad call. I think Her digged that one out, and
I thought so too.
I don't know what they saw. It looks like, you know,
tough break for the Polars there. As I agree with you. I thought that was a beautiful dig. Far side now, Stenman catches the top of the tape. I don't see that too often.
Easy call on that one. That one definitely touched the top of the net. So Stenman, you know, trying to get something going. Unfortunately, I think try to put a little too much on and go straight back into the net.
Sandifer now the set is Rodriguez again with that kind of sidearm tap. And it's good for another point. Excuse me, that was Franco.
Yeah, Franco doing the same thing and just hitting her over the net right in the same spot, picking up the point.
Kopp now sets it, a beautiful dig there by Sandifer. Keeps it alive, and it's sent around now. Kopp again, the set far side for Beer. She tips to the middle. Now Sandifer back set for Rodriguez. And it's played up again. This time bounced around. Franco's able to keep it alive. Stenman far side. And again now Kopp to set. Beer sends one over. And a heads-up play by Franco and the Polars as she is there to tap her home.
Yeah, Franco, not a name we've called very many times tonight. She has 5 points, however. She's got the third most points for North.
And the only player we don't have a name for is that player right there, number 3. As she slams one home for the Polars as they lead it now 5-3. Rodriguez sends it over. Kopp has to scramble a bit. Beer sends it far side, but Her is there. Back set, Sandifer for Stenman, and a nice job by the Raiders to play it over, but it just goes out of play. And it's again another Stenman kill, and that puts her in double digits.
Yeah, that looked really close, Jeb. Ooh, yeah, just falling out right outside the line. So good break there for North.
Tipped around, and this time again, Franco coming up big in set number 4. And another timeout as Greg Hewlin has got to stop the bleeding before this one gets out of hand.
Yeah, Roseville really looking flat at the last half of the third set. Now here at the beginning of the fourth, you know, they came out to a 2-0 lead. Now they're being outscored 7-1 here in the last 8 points. Not how you would like it to go, but you know, it looks like North St. Paul is clicking on all cylinders. As now even Franco is getting in the action and looking impressive up front.
Absolutely. There's our wonderful cameraman, as folks were always looking for volunteers to come out and run a camera, help put on the broadcast as we cover all of the fantastic high school athletics. along with parades and graduations. Always looking for volunteers to help us out.
A good-looking group of fellows up there, at the top of the bleachers. And, sometimes there's even some pizza involved for the volunteers, or most of the time there is. Or sometimes you go out and get Subway, and, you get a lot of hands-on action, especially if that's what you're looking to do for school or as a career. This is a good way to get your feet wet.
Rodriguez sends it over, and a little too much for Koff. Just like that, they pick right back up where they left off. It's now 8-3. North St. Paul leads it. Rodriguez again sends it up. This time, that one's long gone. It's just out of the reach. Keenan unable to get that downward plane.
Rodriguez with 4 aces on the night.
And potentially another one there as Johnston plays that one up. Beer sends it over. Her is there. Nice job by Sandifer to set. Backside, Johnson plays it up. And again, Beer tipped at the line. Rodriguez able to keep it alive as Her sends it over. And it's a North St. Paul. I think they caught the Raiders off guard a bit there.
How impressive has Charisma Her, the senior, looked tonight? So many great digs, so many saves just to keep the ball alive. Absolutely amazing.
Tipped around again. Her is right there. Sandifer back set for Rodriguez as Johnston plays it up off the uprights. And the Raiders got to find a way to answer as now the Polars jump out to an 11-3 lead.
You can't get any more unlucky than that, though, if you're Johnson. The sophomore's got to feel defeated. She played that way it should be, kept the ball alive, hits off the basketball hoop. That's what I always hate about these volleyball courts.
Bounced around there. The Raiders keep it alive. Back set. Johnson, Her with a diving play. And Rodriguez is able to send it in. And now Beer sends one out. Sandifer's there. Some great volleying back and forth. And it's tipped at the line. And Franco again comes up big for the Polars.
Yeah, Franco just coming up big once again. Nice save by Valerie Croth, the libero for Roseville. Unfortunately, her team doesn't come up with the point.
Rodriguez was on a good run. That one catches the top of the tape. Nonetheless, 12-4 is where the lead stands for the Polars. Some good volleyball back and forth. Is now Aaron Beers back for the Raiders to serve. And Her is there again. Sandifer the set for Stenman. Bounced around, now Kopp sets, tipped at the line. Her again, a diving play. Sent back corner, and able to get it to drop. And really, the Polars have come to play here in set number 4, and they look like a completely different team.
Yeah, Franco, I mean, you've had, Stenman's been quiet. Rodriguez has not really got anything going, since the first set. I mean, she had a couple nice serves to start this set, but Franco, how impressive is that she stepped up, just a sophomore, looking real good in the fourth.
14-4 now, a 10-point lead for the Polars as Charisma Her is back to serve. Raiders trying to find a way to tie this at 2 games apiece. It's slammed home by Johnston there. That's one way to get things going.
Yeah, I really feel like Roseville's gotten away from what made them good. As I talked about, if they can keep the ball near the net, they'll come up, with a lot of points. But North has been keeping it away from the tall girls up front, and that is not Roseville's strong suit to play far.
Sandifer sets back set for Stenman. Now Beer sends one over. Her is there again. Sandifer this time sets 3, bounces it around and gets another one to drop. I wish we had a name for number 3 of the Polars.
I'm starting to think that's Lena Fitzanucon. Or Angel King, I'm not sure.
Bounced around now. There's a net violation on the Polars, results in a Raider point. And it's now 15-6. Yeah, we've got a few names on our roster, but yet not 100% sure which one she is. She's wearing a different number tonight in jersey number 3. 15-7 now. Back to serve as Kopp for the Raiders. She sends one, her plays it up. Stenman the set for Rodriguez. Sent right into the middle as two Raiders dive to keep it alive. Beer tries to play it backwards. It catches the net and it ends up in a North St. Paul point.
I feel like whenever we're calling Beer's name here in the last 3 sets, every time she's just trying to keep the ball alive somehow off a good North St. Paul hit.
Rebelke into serve as Koff plays it up. Kopp the set, slammed home, but Stenman's there to play it alive. Back set for Rebelke as she plays it over. Now Koff keeps her going. Rebelke, Stenman the set, and Rodriguez slams one home, far side. Bounces out of play. It's another North St. Paul point and another kill for Selena Rodriguez.
Yeah, Rodriguez, you know, we haven't called her as much as the first set, but she's definitely shown that she's one of the better players in the conference here tonight.
Rebelke again sends it over. Johnston plays it up as Kopp tips it over. Now Stenman far set for Rodriguez. And a nice block by the Raiders, but it falls out of play. And again, now it's an 11-point lead.
Polars with their biggest lead of the night, just dominating here in the 4th set.
Kopp the set, slammed home nicely that time by Flagstad. Nothing the Polars could do that time as she found a hole in the defense.
Yeah, I mean, if you're Roseville, they've gotten away from Taylor Keenan here in the 4th set, and especially the 3rd. Nothing really going for her. Flagstad's had to step up, but I think you need to get Keenan the ball as well as Flagstad, and if you're going to come back.
Rebelke with a nice back hit, and it falls for a point. A beautiful one at that.
Yeah, Rebelke, just the freshman, only 5'2", showing she can compete with the older girls here tonight.
Martinez sends one over. Now Johnston from the backside, bounced around, and nothing the Polars could do that time as Flagstad was there to slam her home.
Yeah, Roseville's going to need to go on quite the big run right here, Jeb. Down 10. You know, they're not going to go down without a fight.
Koff sends it over. Rebelke dives to keep it alive as Martinez just sends it over. Now bounced around, far side. Her plays it up. Stenman the far set for Rodriguez. And right down the line, it's good for a Polar point.
Yeah, I think if the defender for Roseville wouldn't have stuck their arms out right there and hit it, that looked like it was going out of bounds, Jeb. Lucky play there for Rodriguez, and she picks up the point, and North is back up by 11.
Sandifer now with the powerful serve. It's sent up front. Slammed right back home by Franco.
Man, has she been impressive here in this 4th set.
Now the Polars lead it 21-9. They have taken the air out of the sail of the Raiders thus far. Kopp sets for Beer. As Beer slams one into the top of the tape. And it ends up in another Polar point as they look to walk away with set number 4 and take this 3-1. Sandifer again off the hands of Jada Johnston. 23-9. The Polars lead it. The Raiders are down to their final 2 points.
Yeah, it's not like the Raiders looked bad though tonight. They've played a heck of a game. Just a few bounces haven't gone their way, and you know, North just very skilled, not making very many mistakes here in the last couple sets, and that's been the big difference.
Now the Polars have done a nice job of balancing out the runs. You know, when it seemed like Roseville was on a heck of a run, they weren't getting flustered. As now the Raiders able to pick up a point up front there to keep this game alive as it's 24-10.
It's always a sign of a good team, Jeb, in order to battle back in the face of adversity. And, you know, if North can keep doing that, they could go on quite the run in the sections.
Played up now as Sandifer and Stenman come together, but Rebelke sends it over. Kopp the set up front. That's Keenan sends that one just out of play. The Polars get the final point, 25-10. They take set number 4. And then ultimately, 3-1, they win tonight's matchup against the Raiders.
Yeah, great. Well, let's take a look at this match point here as Roseville just tries to volley it back over the net. If we can get this replay going, and it looked like Keenan just tried to hit it back over with a light touch, but unfortunately she didn't aim it very well, and you'll see it right here. So, Rebelke just hits it back over. Eventually Stenman will just try to lob it over to keep it in, keep the ball alive, but unfortunately she hit it way out of bounds. Not what you wanted, but either way, I don't think they're coming back, Jeb, and final score 25-10 as North St. Paul wins 3-1.
Yeah, so a great game tonight here by both teams. The Polars end up prevailing in 3-1. Stenman and Rodriguez end up coming up pretty big for the Polars as they go on to take it 3-1. From John Miller, I'm Jeb Brand. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. We'll see you next time here on SCC TV.